यहाँ पनि यही प्रश्न उठ्छ, सद्गुरुजी पनि खास बौद्ध धर्मको कुनै किसिमको पनि अध्ययन नगरेको हुनाले
The same issue that we have been discussing arises here as well. Since Sadhguru actually has not studied Buddha Dharma at all, it turns out that he does not even know the meaning of the word Buddha itself. And we do not find such a response given by the Buddha anywhere. Let us delve a bit deeper into this. The definition of Buddha is given in the Svuta Tika, or clear meaning commentary by Yashomitra on the Abhidharma Kosh. This is the Buddhist definition, and there are 3 definitions given there.
बुद्धेर विकसनात् बुद्ध, यसको अर्थ बुद्धिको विकास भएकोले बुद्ध हो.
Buddhair Vikasanat Buddha, meaning Buddha is in the sense of the development of buddhi or wisdom. And it continues, Vibuddha ityartha, Vibuddham padmam iti yatha. This means blossoming, like a lotus blossoming. Now this is the first definition. What this shows is Buddhair Vikasanat Buddha, meaning the development of buddhi. And what kind of development? Vibuddha, or blossoming. Vibuddham padmam iti yatha, where Vibuddha means to blossom. Thus the meaning is like how a padma or a lotus flower blossoms. Now, when using the word buddhi here, we should clarify, and we have already talked about this in earlier episodes, that when we use the word buddhi in Buddha Dharma, as in the case of many other words, it will have a different meaning, even though the same word may be used elsewhere. That is why we find other Swamis, such as Vivekananda, using the same words. Many Swamijis of Ramakrishna Parahamsa's Ramakrishna Mission also have used the same words. And now Sadhguru Ji has also used the same word.
बुद्धि भन्दा माथि आत्मा हो विवेक वेदान्तमा, तर बुद्ध धर्ममा बुद्धि भनेको प्रज्ञा.
Now in Vedanta, Atma, or the unchanging and truly existing self, is placed higher than buddhi. But in Buddha Dharma, buddhi means pragya, or wisdom. So the blossoming of this pragya, the full development of it, is buddhair vikasanat buddhaha. Pragya or wisdom is buddhi in Buddha Dharma, and it does not refer to the word that comes from the root buddh, as does the word buddhi or intellect that is used by Sadhguruji, Vivekananda, and many of the Swamis of the Ramakrishna Mission. That buddhi or intellect is considered lower than the sakshi or the knower, and the word Buddha as they use it means the one who has gone to or reached the sakshi or witness, drashta or seer or gyata or knower that is higher. And the one who reaches this state is said to be Buddha. But we have clearly said in the previous episode as well that sakshi or witness is not wisdom in Buddha Dharma, whether it is to be sakshi, to stay in sakshi, or to recognize sakshi.
साक्षीलाई अवेयरनेस पनि भन्छ, अवेयरनेसमा रहिरहनु, अवेयरनेस रहमा रहनु, अवेयरनेस नै मेरो स्वरूप हो भनेर चिन्नु.
Sakshi is also called awareness. So to remain in awareness, to stay in awareness, to recognize that awareness is my nature, and to recognize that this is my Atma, or unchanging self, these are not Gyan or wisdom. Even according to the definition of Vedanta, Buddha does not mean going beyond buddhi to sakshi. In Buddha Dharma, buddhi means pragya or wisdom, and the development of this buddhi or pragya, its blossoming. So the blossoming of pragya. Pragya is also of 2 types. Samal, that is with defilements, and Vimal, or pure. Pure pragya means correctly knowing samsara, which includes all dharmas or phenomena. And when we say all dharmas, then sakshi or witness is also included in that phenomena. And we have mentioned previously that this sakshi that Vedanta points to as the knower or knowing and the Chit in Shankaracharya's Sat Chit Ananda, which is also the same knower, that is Vigyan, or consciousness or mind.
Vijanati iti vigyanam. हैन विज्ञान हो.
Vijanatiti Vigyanam. This is Vigyan, and it is Vigyan that knows. But this Vigyan knows both incorrectly and correctly. And Vigyan or Sakshi are both included in samsara. Well, they are not two separate things, but actually are the same. But in Buddha Dharma, it is called Vigyan, and there is no other Sakshi that is higher than Vigyan. In Hindu Dharma, there is Buddhi or intellect, and Sakshi or witness is higher than that. But that which is defined as Buddhi in Vedanta is a Chaita in Buddha Dharma. That is a mental factor. It is just that. But the one that knows is Vigyan. It is said Vijanatiti Vigyanam, meaning because it knows, it is called Vigyan. And when that Vigyan differentiates correct and incorrect, then that is called Pragya or wisdom. Pragya Dharmanam Pravichaye. This is the definition in the Abhidharma Kosh. Thus, what is Pragya? It is what distinguishes or discriminates dharmas or phenomena. Now, what does the development of Pragya mean? What does the development of Buddhi mean as in Buddhair Vikasanat? Or what does the development of Vigyan mean? And, like I have already repeated many times, when we say all dharmas or phenomena, then the Vigyan which knows is also included within that. So it is to know all dharmas as anitya or impermanent, anatma or no self, and shunya or empty. Here, knowing does not mean knowing from vikalpa or conceptual thinking as said in English. But this word does not signify merely thinking.
विकल्पको परिभाषा विषयको कल्पना.
The definition of vikalpa is imagination of an object. It is the imagination of an object. And wisdom means not knowing in that manner, but rather knowing directly through vipassana, which is called vipassana in Pali. Thus, to know or to see through vipassana. Pashyana means to see rather than to know, to penetrate. And to see what? Anitya or impermanence, anatma or no self, and shunyata or emptiness. And from this, buddhi or wisdom will develop. When such buddhi develops fully, then that is called Buddha, and not buddhi or intellect going into sakshi that is beyond it. Even though that is not said specifically in the question, what it means is that the buddhi or intellect has gone to sakshi or witness, gone to the sakshi that is beyond the buddhi. This does not agree with the Buddhist system. It does not fit in any which way.
अर्को दोस्रो परिभाषा छ अविद्या निन्द्रा द्वय अपगमनात् बुद्ध.
The second definition is avidya nindra dvaya apagamat buddha. Avidya nindra dvaya means the twofold of avidya, or ignorance or nescience, and sleep. Sleep here means moha, or confusion or dullness of mind. Because moha is like sleep. When we sleep, we fall into moha. And what is moha? It is the root of klesha, or emotional defilements, such as attachment, anger, greed, etc. And the root of that moha is avidya. Thus, avidya nindra dvaya and apagamad means cut off, destroyed, ended, or removed. This is Buddha. The meaning of this is Buddha in the sense of having removed the twofold sleep of ignorance. The two types of sleep are avidya, or ignorance or nescience, and moha, or confusion or dullness of mind. When these two are removed, that is called Buddha. Again, what are the two types of sleep? One is avidya. And what is the Buddhist definition of avidya? The Hindu definition of avidya is not knowing Atma, or not recognizing Atma.
उपनिषदमै आत्माबारे द्रष्टव्यम आदि आदि भनिएको छ.
In the Upanishads it says Atma Vare Drashtavya, or Atma is fit to be seen, etc. regarding Atma. But in Buddhism, knowing Atma is not regarded as wisdom. It is still considered to be avidya. So what is avidya? It is sahaja atmagraha, or the innate grasping to the concept of a really existing self. Those Hindu swamis who do not understand this think that, oh, avidya is in both Hindu dharma and Buddha dharma, and because one becomes a Buddha when this avidya is destroyed, our Vivekananda also has destroyed avidya, and this so-and-so also has destroyed avidya. And even I, Sadguru, have already destroyed avidya, so I am also a Buddha. Or I, Osho Rajneesh, have destroyed avidya, so I am also a Buddha. This is how they think. But here, one needs to first understand what avidya means in Buddha Dharma. In Sanskrit, it is called Sahaja Atma Graha. Now regarding Sahaja, the Nepali word Sajilo, which means easy, comes from that word. Spontaneous, automatic, arising by itself, innate, these are all Sahaja. Sajilo, the Nepali word for easy, comes from the word Sahaja. Atma Graha means grasping onto Atma or holding on to it. But what is Atma? What is called Atma? That which is believed to be really existent, believed to have its own or self-existence is called Atma. For example, that pillar over there. When I say that pillar is really there, a thing called pillar is there, then I give it real existence. That real existence-ness is called Atma.
र वेदान्तमा साक्षीलाई लगाइन्छ। औषध व्यक्तिले साक्षी भन्ने पनि नचिनेको होला।
An average regular person applies this kind of existence to oneself as well. And in Vedanta, it is applied to the Sakshi or witness. An average person may not know what Sakshi is, nor know what Vigyan is. But in their day-to-day behavior and in their normal average experiences, there is an I. As I am experiencing all this, that is why there is an I. And that I is unchanging. And why is this? Because it feels like, to me, that the I who is speaking now was speaking yesterday as well. The same I was saying I 10 years ago, and even 50 years ago, it is the same I that was saying I then. When I was a 5-year-old child as well, it was the same I that was saying I. It feels like this. There is no need to be a philosopher to feel this. This is called giving it existence, or imputing existence. It is called imputing in English, or superimposing. In Sanskrit, it is called arop. I impute or superimpose satta, or existence, on the I. Sat. Satta means satness, or existence-ness, or that which has sat, or real existence. And even an uneducated person, or a villager, or a person with no philosophical ideas, does this imputing. When he says I, he feels that I from 40 years ago and the I now is the same. And similarly, that is how it feels with the pillar, that house, that mug, that car, that there is really something called a car there, really something called a pillar there. This does not mean that in Buddha Dharma, there is no pillar there. There is a question regarding this that comes later on nothing that says that Buddha taught that everything is nothing. We talked about that in a previous episode as well. It cannot be found in any Buddhist text, in the sutras or shastras, etc., that the Buddha said this. But the existence that is ascribed here, which is also called swabhav or self-existence, such a swabhav is not there. Swabhav, swa meaning its own, and bhav meaning existence. Thus, own or self-existence. When we say own here, it means independent. Thus, independent existence. So when I say the pillar is there, I am saying that an independent existence of the pillar is there. How do we know this? Because even when I say I am giving it that same independent existence. I am giving it swabhav. Because when I speak of I, saying I saw, I looked, I ate, and such, I have the strong belief that the I that is saying these things is the same I from 20 years back. And this happens to every person. No one says that they were a different I 20 years back and now they are a different I. Why? Because of avidya. Why? Because of language. The word is always the same I, and thus that same I remains. This Sahaja Atma Graha imputes Atma, or really existing self, onto me, Atma onto Sakshi or witness, Atma onto the body, Atma onto Vedana or sensations, and so on. We even impute Atma onto outside phenomena, such as the pillar, car, etc. We impute Atma, project it, superimpose it. And then we grasp at the imputed from within, from the unconscious mind itself. We grasp onto it as if it is real. Like how every person feels that I exist. And I am the same I from 20 years back. It is me. And one grasps at this. This grasping is called graha, and the same is done with Sakshi. In Vedanta, this grasping is strengthened even further with statements such as Tat Tvam Asi, Aham Brahmasmi, Ayam Atma Brahma, and such, meaning Atma is Sat or truly existing, and that is you, I am Brahma, and the self is Brahma, and so forth. Thus, statements like these reinforce that grasping even more and more. That is why recognizing Sakshi, remaining in Sakshi, or being Sakshi, these are all incorrect practices in Buddha Dharma and are not considered to be wisdom. In Vedanta, wisdom is the realization of Atma, or truly existing self, whereas here it is the realization of Anatma, or of no self. Avidya, or nescience, is cut through by the wisdom of Anatma. Avidya in Vedanta is not recognizing Atma, and that is cut through by realizing Atma. Whereas here, to see Atma or to impute an Atma, whether onto the inside or to the outside, to the Sakshi or to the body, or to anyone else, all of this superimposing and imputing an Atma is called avidya. And there is only one path to cut through that, which is to see that there is no such Atma. Not merely to think this, but to see it. That is what Vipassana is, to see. That is why it says, cutting off the two kinds of sleep of ignorance, one of which is avidya and the other of sleep, which here means moha. Now what is moha? This is a subtle point. Many people consider the state of moha, or dullness or confusion of the mind, as wisdom. If I am shown a beautiful flower, then I say, wow. Any average person will respond like this. Expressing the wow indicates craving towards it, desire or attachment towards it, to like something, as said in English. Whereas, if something we do not like is brought in front of us, we will say yuck. That is dislike. That is aversion. Aversion is anger. There are finer subtleties of anger. Similarly, there are also many kinds of attachment or desire, but we will not go into this detail here. But the root of these two is moha. If someone shows me a pen and I do not respond with a wow or a yuck, that is moha. This happens when I am shown just a regular pen. This neutral state is regarded by many as a state of wisdom. The Vedanta clearly states that the wisdom state is remaining as Sakshi or witness neutrally, just remaining neutral towards everything. That neutrality is itself moha. That is why practices in which one remains in neutrality towards whatever is happening increases moha. And as moha increases, we will not be liberated. We will not attain wisdom. Kama, or attachment, krodh or anger, and moha, or confusion or dullness. We need to be free from all these three. And the root of these is moha. It is easy to recognize desire and anger. Moha is subtle, and people do not recognize it easily. That is why in many traditions and systems, the aforementioned neutral state of moha is believed to be the state of wisdom. There is no wow and there is no yuck, and they just remain blissfully. But that state is actually moha. So how can this moha be cut through? That method is in Buddha Dharma, in the authentic Buddha Dharma, and not in organizations that merely take the name of the Buddha or in those that just run it in Buddha's name. This is found in authentic traditions of Buddha Dharma that have come from unbroken, pure, enlightened lineages that have continued through thousands of years. So when these two sleeps of ignorance are lifted, then one becomes Buddha.
संस्कृतमा अथवा अविद्या निन्द्रा द्वय अपगमात् बुद्ध.
Thus, avidya nindra dvaya apagamat Buddha, as said in Sanskrit.